My pastor, Pastor Terry Roberts, he has this saying that I love, and he says that offense is the venom that even if the snake bit you, but you don't have to accept its venom. So there is the acknowledgement that something happened and this upset me. But for me to get offended, it's that now I'm accepting the venom from this bite, and my personal life, if I dwell on offense, then my heart is turned away from the Lord and it's now focusing on this offense. And whatever your heart is set upon, you begin to worship. And we are in such a sensitive time that the enemy, one of his top strategies right now is how can I get you to get to the state of offense? And the crazy thing is that we think, just like we were sharing, is that sometimes when you take in offense, you are in charge. Oh, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm in power. But that's actually the wrong thing, because they're little sneaky strategies of the enemy. Because the heart is the place that you are connected with God. The moment your heart is set aside from the affections of the Lord, anything can happen. Like, I think about Solomon, and it's such a different story, but it's that you see Solomon's story and you see how all these riches were brought to him, based on just the word of the Lord, right? And so now Solomon is great in wisdom. He's great in riches. And there were moments where I thought that, Lord, why would it be the thing that you blessed him with was the thing that caused him to fall? And he said, no, go read it again. And when I read it again, it talks about how Solomon's heart, he loved women. He loved foreign women. And then it hit me, this is not even about the women or the foreign women, it was about the heart. That his heart was no longer set on the things of God. His heart was set on the very thing that God told him to not do. And so the same way, forgiveness is actually the Lord giving us insight. This is what keeps your heart in the place of purity. This is what keeps you in the place of connection to me. This is what causes you to stay sensitive. And I love what you shared, Natalie, that sometimes you're the offender and you don't even know what you did, but someone is out there. And now their heart is worshiping that moment. Their heart is worshiping that offense that you had no intention of even sending their way. And so I really just hold on to the words of Jesus on the cross when he said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. At the end of the day, one thing the Lord taught me was that no one would ever hurt you from a place of wisdom or from a place of love. And so when a person does something, it is out of their ignorance and brokenness. It doesn't say that something didn't happen, but it's to say, I'm not going to agree with a lie. I'm not going to identify you to this identity that's not even truly who you are. So I'm going to look at this moment and say, you know what? You didn't know better, and I could walk away and let it go. I'm not going to allow anything. In this season that we're in right now, there's going to be so much more that happens in the news. There's going to be so much that we're going to see, but you have to guard your heart, for everything we do flows from it. You have to guard your heart, because whatever you set your heart upon, you're worshiping. And this is not the time to worship offense. It's not the time to worship moments, but that we are setting our hearts before the Lord, and so that we stay sensitive to him in these times.
When you think about what happens to people to become so frustrated, angry, hurtful, it really was their own trauma, their own story, their own thing. And sometimes we only see how it affects us, and we don't go back and go, well, what? Like Natalie said, what is the thing that actually caused them? Where was their wound? Where did that begin for them? And I know for me a few years ago, something happened, and consciously, it was very, very painful. And I remember thinking, I cannot forgive this person. And I didn't want to have that posture. I didn't intend to have that posture. It was kind of out of the wound. It just kind of came out. And I sat with it for a couple weeks, couple months. One night, I remember the Lord waking me in the middle of the night, and he said, you have no right to withhold forgiveness from this person. And because what I learned is that when we go to bed angry, or we go to bed carrying a record of wrongs, what it does is it gives the enemy a foothold. He doesn't need our whole heart. He just needs a crack in the door. He just is like a foothold. I had to look it up. It's basically a stance you can take so that you can then enter and take more ground. And so I think sometimes the enemy looks at people of God and just says, hey, if I can't get them to willingly sin or willingly rebel or outwardly, publicly be disobedient to God, what I can do is I can give them a spirit of offense. I can keep them justified in their pain, and I can give them lots of rationale as to why they were so hurt and the other person is to blame. And it was the kindness of God to kind of go, whoa, 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 wait a minute. What you're doing by validating this narrative that you can't possibly have it within you to forgive. How about you let me be the one who does that through you? And so I remember that night, it's been August, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I felt like something kind of physically come out of me. It was like just this emotion of lament, like sorrow that I carried something. It was a big story. It was like kind of a big relationship that was very powerful to me. And then I just confessed it. And then once I confessed it in my journal, all of a sudden I was like, well, shoot, now I'm going to need to call this person. It's not just between me and God, it's me going to them. And so I don't know if that's you. I don't know if that's someone that might be watching right now that just is saying, you know, I've held on to something. It's create a barrier or a distance here, but I do want to lay that down. I don't want there to be any opening in my heart where the enemy can come in and try to steal and kill and destroy relationships. So if that's you, just say, what is the thing, Lord, that you can do through me, the way you can forgive through me, help me forgive in the way that only you can do, because you are the perfect love that doesn't keep a record of wrongs.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe today and you'll never miss a new upload.
And don't forget to check out our Better Together shop. Thanks for being a part of our community.